installing Windows Server desktop or desktop experience or core. So first, perform the pre-installation task. So if our server is connected to some UPS, that is a power backup. So first we should disconnect the power backup. Then if it is a backup server, so if applicable, then use a backup server. Disable antivirus softwares if you have. Then we can go for the installation. Now for installing the system, we have these options. So when we first start the installation wizard, how we will start the installation wizard? We will put the installation media. Either we are using the DVD for installation, or we are using the bootable flash, or even we can start it from the network also. So whether we start, it will go for the installation wizard. So when we boot from the installation media, DVD or flash, it will start, and you have to press any key to start from the boot from the DVD. So when we press enter, so it will start the wizard for installation. Now in the wizard, first option you will select for the language and date and currency keyboard. So first option is to select the language. Then the option is to select the region and language, and then currency, and also it will ask you to select the keyboard layout, just like we did for the Windows 10. It is same as Windows 10. So first window is for that, and then after that it will ask for selecting what installation you want to install. So if suppose you want to install the desktop experience, so you will select desktop experience. If you want to install the server core edition, so you can select the core installation. Then when you go next, it will give you the option like what you have selected. Then it will ask for you to select the installation location, like which partition or hard disk you want to install. So you will select the hard disk, you will create the partitions if required, and then you press the enter, and then you will provide the after that, selecting the partition, when you start, it will start installing the system, and after finishing the installation it will reboot, and when it will reboot, then it will ask for the administrator password. Then you have to provide the administrator password for login. So we have started the installation, and it is already finished, and it is already rebooted. So now it is asking for the password here. So when the installation is finished, the system will reboot, and now it will ask for the customization. So first it is asking for the password of administrator. So I will provide the password for administrator here, and then I will say finish. And now it is installed. Now to get start, you will press Alt Control Delete here to start the screen. Now Alt Control Delete is for the real machine, but because we are using the virtual machine, we are using VMware, so we will press Alt Control Insert here. Now we will give the password what we have decided. And the installation is now done. Now it is starting, and because the network is connected, so it is asking about the network, like this is private or public. So you say yes, it will go to private. We recommend allowing this on your home and work network, but not public. So if you say yes, then it will go for private. Now if you see this, let me minimize this one. Now when you see this screen, it looks like what Windows 10. It is Windows Server. We can see here Windows Server 2016 Data Center Evolution Edition, and it is valid till 180 days because it is the evolution version. So we can use this for the practices, and it is giving us the 180 days for the evolution version. After that or before that, if you want to use the full version, then you can purchase this. You can purchase it from Microsoft and you can activate it. activated with the key. Now it is not activated, it is actually evolution version, so it will work normally till 180 days. After 180 days it will not work normally. Now if you see this, it looks like same as Windows 10. Now if I press start button, same as Windows 10 but less graphical. Less graphical, that means it is not that much graphical that Windows 10 it is, and it is not having those tools or those pre-installed applications which is available in Windows 10. So because it is not a desktop application, desktop operating system, it is actually server operating system. So server operating system does not require those things. So it is same as Windows 10. We can even use this as a Windows 10 also. Everything is same, but this is server operating system and it has a different capabilities. Now we have this thing here. So whenever we start the server, we will see this, and this is what server manager. Now this is the server manager, which is different than normal Windows 10. It is separate because it is a server operating system, and this is the manager of server. Now we can see this is the desktop version, this is the desktop experience version. It is GUI and it is fully GUI, and we can see it is looking like a same as Windows 10. Now first time when you install this in virtual machine in VMware, so what you have to do, you should install the VMware tool in it. VMware tool, that means it is like a we install the drivers in Windows in the real machine. What we do, we install the drivers in the real machine to work these devices properly. These devices will work properly if you have a proper driver for it. So just like we can assume this VMware tools as a driver for this virtual machine devices, for these virtual devices. So when we install any Windows operating system in this VMware, we should install the VMware tool into it so that it will work properly. It is not showing it into the full screen. You can see it is showing a small screen here. So we can do what? We can install the VMware tool into it so that it will get full. Now for installing the VMware tool, so for installing the VMware tool, this is our virtual machine. So we'll go to VM, and in the VM tab we have this install VMware tool option. So we will select this, and it is going to give a software here under the virtual machine. From there we can run the installation like it is showing here. I will go to File Explorer, and I can see here the VMware tool DVD, and I will run it from here, and it will start installing the VMware tool. Now it will take a little time. Now for installing the VMware tool, it is easy. We just go next, and we'll go with the typical option and install, just like this. It will take a little time, and then it will ask for reboot. After finishing the installation, it will ask for reboot. So we will reboot it, and then it will be okay. Now installation is finished, and it is asking for, we click on finish. Now it is asking us to reboot the system, so you say yes. So it will finish the installation. Now it is rebooting, and after installing it will work okay. So it is good idea to install the VMware tool after when we install a Windows operating system. And now it is ready. Hmm. Now it will automatically detect the resolution also. So it will detect the resolution by the this VMware tool, and it will make a screen according to your resolution. Or we can also change it. So first I will do what? I will change the resolution because it is looking very small. So I will go to desktop setting, advanced setting, and here I will select the resolution which I feel is okay for my screen. I will select this. Is it good? No, let me try something else. Okay, this is good. So this is our server and it is ready. And this is our desktop experience. This is our GUI desktop version of Windows Server 2016. Now, next thing, for the virtual machine, not for Windows Server, but for the virtual machine, next thing that we should take the snapshot, because right now our server is fresh and it is not having any changes, any configurations. So if I want to go back, if I want to use the fresh server sometime, like when I do the configuration here, so I cannot reverse those configurations. Sometime I will do make changes, and sometime it will become like, suppose I can corrupt the server also. So I have to reinstall it every time. Whenever I corrupt the server, I have to reinstall it. Now because I am doing the practices, so I may corrupt the server. So every time I don't want to do the reinstallation, so what I will do in the VMware, in a virtual machine, I have an option to take a snapshot. So when the machine is okay and working properly, for example right now the machine is okay and it is fresh, it has no configurations, so I can do what? I can take a snapshot of this state. So whenever I want to go back to this state, I can go back to that snapshot. So in VMware, in virtual machine, I have an option to take a snapshot. How I will take that? So to take a snapshot in your VMware, we will go to again VM tab, and here we have option to snapshots. We can go to take a snapshot directly, or we can go to the snapshot manager. We can create more than one snapshots. It will open the snapshot manager. Now this is the snapshot manager where we can take the snapshots. So right now our machine is here, it is saying you are here, and right now it is fresh. So I can take a snapshot from here. I will name it as it is fresh. And one more thing, it is good idea to take a snapshot when your machine is not running. If it is shut down, now if your machine is running, then what? It will take more hard disk space in your hard disk. So if it is not running, now if it is running, that means it will have to keep the running state. In the snapshot it will have to keep the running state. So it will take more space in our hard disk. So if we want to take the snapshot, so it is a good idea to do what? Shut down the system and then take the snapshot. So it will not take a lots of space in our system. So what I will do now, the machine is not running, so I will go to VM and snapshot manager, and now I can take the snapshot. I'm naming this as a fresh, and then take a snapshot. Now it is taking very quickly also, but if the machine is running, then it will take a time to take the snapshot also. So this is my snapshot where my machine is fresh, no configurations, and right now we are here. Both are same, but now when I do the configurations, changes and changes and changes, and now sometime I feel like I want to go back to the fresh server, then what I will do, I will come back to this snapshot manager again, and I will select this fresh, and I will say go to, and when I say go to, my machine will go to that previous state when when the machine was fresh, no configurations was there, everything was fresh. So this is how we should take the snapshot in our virtual machine. Now I'm starting the virtual machine again. Now we are done with these virtual VMware options. Now we can go with servers, because we are seeing here servers, so we can go with the server now. Now our server is started, and now we can do the configuration in this server. Now what configurations we do, and what is this server manager? So whenever we start our server, first this server manager comes. Now this server manager is actually manager for the whole server. That means from here, from this server manager, we can manage everything in our server, everything. Previously, suppose if you see the previous versions or old versions of Windows Server, for example Windows Server 2000 or Windows Server 2003, there was server manager also. Server manager was there in 2003 server, Windows 2003 server also, but actually nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that because it was not that much powerful. It was not that much powerful. That means it was not able to handle everything, and nobody cares about that. That time administrators was just close that Windows that server manager, and there was a tick here in the bottom side. It says which says that never show it again. So that server manager never shows up again. But after Windows 2008 server, what they did, what Microsoft did, they have introduced this server manager. Now in Windows 2008, what happened? They have forced everyone to do everything from this server manager. That means actually they have forced to do everything, to manage everything from the server manager. If you want to manage servers, if you want to manage DHCP, if you want to manage the group policy, if you want to manage DNS, if you want to manage other things, you have to do it from the server manager. Now suddenly from Windows 2003 to Windows 2008, suddenly they have changed the whole concept, and they have forced the users, forced the administrator to manage and use the server manager and manage everything from server manager. Previously what happens, all the tools for managing the servers are available under the administrative tools. If you see, if you go to control panel, and change it to the category, so in this you will see the administrative tools, and under the administrative tools you will get all the tools here to manage the server. Now in 2003 server, all the tools were here. If you want to manage DNS, you will get the console from here. If you want to manage group policy, you will get the console from here. DHCP, console from here. Any other thing, console from here. So they are having, it is having a separate console for everything, separate console for managing everything. Now after Windows 2003, when Windows Server 2008 came, what they did, they introduced the server manager and forced everyone to manage everything from here. So there is no tools which is available in administrative tools in the control panel. You have to manage it from here. You have to manage it from here in this side. You will get everything in this side. Now that is not the administrators don't like this, because it is just restricting administrators. Now for that, after 2008, Windows Server 2012 came, and in that 2012 server they have updated the concept, and now what, we get this server manager. This is the updated server manager we have now, and this is the same server manager which we have in Windows Server 2012. Now in this server manager, what we get, we have option to manage it everything from here, and also if you want to manage it separately, then the tools are also available separately in control panel. In administrative tools, you have the tools available separately, and you don't have to go here in the control panel. In this in the control panel administrative tools, you can open these tools directly from server manager. That means you don't have to come every time here. You can open this directly from this server manager. In the server manager, you have this tool tab, and in this tool tab you have all those tools available directly here, which you can get from that administrative tools. These are the tools, so we can get those tools available here directly. And every tool, every console is separate. That means for managing DNS, there is a separate console. For managing DHCP, separate console. For managing group policy, we have separate console. For managing users, we have separate consoles, just like Windows Server 2003. So we have separate console for every management, but all those tools, we don't have to go to those places. We can get it directly from here, directly from this tool tab. Now what else we have here? First we have this dashboard. Under the dashboard you will see this welcome screen. This is a welcome screen for Windows Server. In the server manager, it says configure this local server. This is for quick start. In here we have these options. First, configure the local server, add roles and features, add other servers to manage, create a server group, connect this server to cloud services. What's new here? You can see the new things here. Then you can go for more learning also. You have these all links also. For more learning, for what's new, you have these links. You can go on for that. And for quick start, it is giving you this option to configure the server. This is dashboard, and here in down it is showing about the roles and server groups. So right now we don't have any servers here. We have only one server available, that is our local server, and in that local server we have these services available. Right now it is having file and storage services. It is having local server which is having these options you can get. In the local server you can have events, you can check event, you can check services, and this is for all servers. Right now we have only one server, you can see here, but we can join this server manager to multiple other servers also. That means we can add other servers to manage here. So suppose if we have 4 servers in our environment, and we want to manage them from centralized location, so we can add those 4 servers here in this single server manager, and I can manage all those 4 servers from here, from this centralized location. Now if we have added other servers, then all servers we will see here. So when I click here, I will see all the servers here one by one. Right now I am seeing only one server, and when I select this server, I will see the detailed information about the server, the IP addresses, manageability, last updated, activation information. Then I can see the events related to that particular server. These are all events related to the particular server. Then if I go down, then I can see the services related to that particular server. So we don't have to go everywhere. Everything is here in the centralized location. I can see the best practice analyzer also. I have option to see the performance also. So in the server manager, if you have connected multiple servers, so you can see all those servers here. Then you will see all the services we include to these servers. So suppose I include other services. Right now we have only file and storage services. If suppose I install or update DNS services, if I add DNS services, then I can see the tab here for managing DNS services. I can see the DNS server tab, and when I click on that, it will show me that which server has that role or which server has that services. Right now we have only one server, and that is what? The local server. So I can manage only the local server. So when I click on this local server, I can see this option to manage the local server. Now what options we have here for managing the local server? First, it is saying about the computer name. Now this is the default name, because remember when we did the installation we have not mentioned any name. So we did not mention any name. So if we want to change the name, this is the default name. So if you want to change the name, then we can select it from here and we can change. Now actually if we want to change the name of this server, then what we do, we actually go here, we will go to system. That means actually we go to the computer's properties, and here we have option to change the setting. This is under the control panel, we have the system setting. Okay, you can go from control panel. So you will go to control panel, and under the control panel you have option to select the system, and then from here we can change this name setting. Like if we want to change the name, then we have to go here, change, and then we select change, and then we get this window where we can change the name. Now this server the server manager makes it very easy. That means I don't have to go to control panel, I don't have to select the system, and then I don't have to select the change name. I just have to click here and it opens the window directly. Remember, it is what? It is coming from system properties, then it is coming from changing the settings, and then we can go here and then we can change the name. Now what server manager is doing, it is making available the link directly here in the server manager, making the thing easy for manage. So we can just click here and we can get this option. We don't have to follow the whole procedure and the whole path, we can just get the link from here. So it is very easy, this managing the server from this server manager. Now just like this, we have these other options, like if you want to change the group work group to domain, then again this is right now by default it is on work group. So if you want to change it to domain, then you can just click it and this window opens, and then you can change to domain, to work group, whatever. Then again for firewalls, so for managing the firewall, again what we do, we go to control panel, or settings, and then from here we will go to set this firewall setting, and then the firewall opens here, and then we can manage the firewall, we can enable, disable the firewall, we can go for advanced settings and create rules and all that. Now we don't have to go there, we can just click here and it will open the window directly, and we can manage the firewall. So this is how easy it is. Again, for managing the remote management, remote desktop, whatever the setting you want, like for example IP address, if you want to change the IP address or configure the IP address, now what we will do, we will again, for doing this, we will go to control panel. This is the actual way to do this. We go to network and sharing settings, then for changing the adapter setting, we go to change adapter setting, then here we'll change the IP address. We can see the IP addresses and we can change the IP addresses if we like. Now we don't have to follow the long path, we can just click here and it will open the adapter setting for us. So this is how easy it is to manage the server from server manager. We have the other options available, like it is showing here the version of the operating system here, version of the server, and it is talking about, it is saying about the hardware which we are using. Then here it is showing about the last install updates, which is never. Windows update, we can manage the updates from here. Then last check for updates, it is showing here. We can manage all these settings. Like if I click on this link, it will again go take me to the update setting. Then for Windows Defender, it is showing me here, and here I can manage the Windows Defender also. So every setting links are directly here, and we can change or manage these settings. We can change the time zone and everything. And also it is showing the detail about hardware, the type of processor, how many RAM we have, and what is the disk space remaining. So in this server manager it shows all these things and we can manage it. Now in the bottom it shows the events. It shows the event related to this particular server. It is showing events related to this particular server. If suppose I select some services here, so it will show me that particular services events. We don't have to go to the administrative tools, like we don't have to go to administrative tools in control panel. We don't have to go to administrative tools, and then we don't have to go to event viewer to find out the events related to some particular services or some particular server. We can get all those events directly from server manager. We can directly see those events related to that server here, and also we can see the services related to the server. Services normally we get access from control panel, then we'll go to administrative tools, then we'll go to services here. This is the services we have. Now we don't have to go there, we can just see those services related to the server here, all the services. And even if suppose some services we install, like if I install DNS services, so related to the DNS services it will show the services related to that particular service. It will show the property events related to that particular service. Now what we have to manage this manage from here in this server. And one more thing, we have here, what we have here, we have the address bar here, like where we are right now. We are in the local server here from the server manager. If suppose I select this all server, it shows under the server manager we are under the all servers. This is just an address bar. Then here this is to refresh the server manager. If suppose you did some changes and if it is not showing here, then we can refresh the server manager to see the changes what we did. It will update, and here you will see the notifications. In the notification right now it is saying that it is refreshing. Now whatever the notification comes, you can see under this flag. Then here we can manage. Now manage, that means we have selected the local server. So if we want to manage the local server, then we can manage the local server from here. Now what we can do here for managing the local server, we have option to add and remove roles and features. We have option to add servers here. That means we can manage multiple servers from here, from this single server manager. So if we want to add, then we can add multiple servers here from this option. We can create a server group also. If suppose we are having multiple servers, like we have 10-20 servers, so we can create a group of servers, like different servers for managing for file services, different servers for authentication, different servers for web services. So we can create a group of those servers. Then we have the server manager properties. Server manager properties, we don't have much. It is having a property for refreshing the server manager after every 10 minutes. Automatically it will refresh the view of this server manager. And if you want that do not start the server manager automatically at logon, that means every time when your system starts or boots, it will show the server manager. And if you don't want to see that, then you can click here. Then what, it will not show you the server manager whenever it is booting. So this is the server manager properties here. Then all the tools we have here. Then this is to view, change the view. Right now it is this. If you want to increase the size of this, so you can increase it. You can zoom in or zoom out, and you have help. Now first, what we should do here, whenever we install the server Windows Server 2016, so first thing we should do is to change the server name. This is the first after installation job we should do. We should change the server name. Now why we should change the server name? Because this is the randomly generated name, and if you want to remember this server by the name, then it will be very difficult to remember this server with this name. So we should make sure the name is easy for remembering. So I will click on this and change, and here I will make sure the name will be easy for me to remember. I will say server, or I will go with this SRV1. No, I will go for server 1, and I will press OK. Now when you change the name, it is going to be rebooted for updating the name in all over the system. So it is saying you must reboot the system. So when we change the name, it is going to reboot. Now the name is changed. Okay, now the name is changed here. Now when I go to local server again, now I can see the name which I have changed. Now what else we should change here? So if you want to manage the firewall, so you can change the firewall settings, like you want to enable or disable the firewall. So you can do enable or disable the firewall. You will click here. Now for the practices, what I will do, I am going to disable the firewall. Now actually there is three firewall actually network zones we have. First we have this private and public, and the third one is domain, but domain is not showing here because this machine is not in the domain, or this machine is not a part of any domain. So when the machine goes into the domain or will become the part of the domain, that domain firewall will come. So I will go to advanced setting, and what I will do, I will go to here, right click and the properties. Now here I can see these three profiles: domain profiles, private profile and public profile. So I want to disable the firewall on this domain profile, private profile, and also on the public profile. Okay, now firewall is disabled, it is not showing here, so I will refresh it, and now it is showing that it is off. Now second thing is remote management. Remote management is by default enabled. This is enabled so that we can manage the server from remotely. So if suppose we want to manage, suppose we have multiple servers and we want to manage those multiple servers from centralized location, from one server, then we can do what? We can use this remote management option. And if you want that this server should not be managed from remotely, then you can disable this option. Now this is to manage the server remotely from the command line, from the PowerShell actually. Now if you want to have a remote desktop connection, that is the graphical connection, then you can use this option. But this is by default disabled because remote desktop is not secure, so it is not available, not enabled by default. But even if you want, then you can enable this. For enabling it, you can just go there and you can allow this remote connection to this computer. And even you can select some particular users also. You can allow, and it says here remote desktop firewall exception will be enabled, so it is going to enable the firewall also, but we have already disabled the firewall. And it will give you option to select some particular users also. I'm not enabling the remote desktop. Then this is the option to enable the NIC teaming. We will see it later. Then this option is to change the IP addresses. So make sure you will give the static IP addresses to the server. Right now it is configured as a DHCP. It is getting the IP address automatically. But for configuring the servers, it is not recommended to have dynamic IP addresses. We have to have, or we must have, a static IP address for all our servers. So I will configure the static IP address here. I will click here. Then I will go to the properties, IPv4 properties. Right now it is on DHCP, so I will configure this manual. Now it depends on in our network that what IP and ranges are available or what ranges are configured. So it depends on the network administrators that what ranges and what subnets they have providing. So based on that we will use the IP address here. I'm going to use a simple IP address of 16.0.0.1. Then you will give the subnet mask. Now if we have a gateway address, that means if we have a router available in our network, so that router address will come here in the gateway. So you will give the gateway address here of that router. Then DNS server address. So if we have any DNS server in our network, so we will give the DNS server IP address here. Right now we don't have any DNS server. This is the first server we have, and this is the server is going to be a DNS server. So I will give the same server IP address here because this is the same server which is going to be the DNS server, and I'm going to make this server as a DNS. Then if we have other DNS servers, then we can add other IP addresses also for other DNS servers. Then we will press OK. We don't have any other DNS server, we don't have gateway, so I'm giving only the IP address and OK and close. So it is not showing here, so again I will refresh it, and this is what IPv4 configured. Now what next? From here, last install update is never. If you want to see and update the installation update, then you can go and check the update and install the update. This is for the update settings. This is for Windows Defender. Windows Defender is your firewall, it is your inbuilt antivirus. So if you want to manage this, then we can go here and we can enable or disable these settings like real-time protection, cloud protection, automatic sample submission or inclusion, enhanced notification. So we can change these settings from here. Then we have the feedback setting or diagnostic setting. That means Microsoft also needs some information from our server, like if suppose we get some errors or troubles or problems, so it is going to update to Microsoft, and then Microsoft will try to resolve the problem, and then it will update other operating systems also. So if you want to participate in that, then you can go here and then you can select this. Windows should ask for my feedback, so automatically, so it will ask for your feedback, and diagnostic and usage data, send your device data to Microsoft. Now sending your device data sometime is not good for the organization, because organizations don't want to send their data to Microsoft. Maybe they are working on some application and that application is generating errors, so that error problem is not, they don't want to send to Microsoft. because that is their own application. So mostly organizations do what, they don't send this, they disable this. These options control the amount of Windows diagnostic and usage data sent to Microsoft from your device. So mostly people don't want this, so they disabled it. If we want to change the time and date and time zone, then we can change it from here. One more option here is to enhance the Internet Explorer setting. Internet Explorer setting is on, so it says when the administrator access, it is on, when the user access, it is on. This is the Internet Explorer enhanced security configurations. This do what? It reduces the exposure of your server to potential attacks from web-based contents. And Internet Explorer enhanced security configuration is enabled by default for administrator and user groups. But if suppose you are working on the lab environment, you are working on the local environment, so sometime it will become irritating. Whenever you open the Internet Explorer, it will always give you an option to add into the security zone. Whenever you go to a site, it will give you it will give you an option to add lots of time. So if you don't like that, then you can disable this option. And I don't like it, so I disabled it. For the practice or for the lab environment, we should disable. I will disable this. And then I will refresh this. And now settings are updated. So this is what, after configuring, after installing the server, we do this post installation tasks. Now if you want to install additional services in this server, then we can do it from here. We can do it from here. We can do it, add roles and features. We will see this. Now this is what the desktop experience, and we configure this desktop experience, desktop GUI version of Windows Server. Now the next option for installation is Core Edition. So next option for installation is a Core Server. Now planning for Core Server. For Core Server, what is Core Server? Core Server is what? A more security enhanced, less resource intensive installation option than the desktop experience installation. So it is less process and resource intensive because it does not have any graphical interface, and because it is not having any graphical interface, we can say it is more secure than the graphical one. Because if suppose some user don't know anything, still they can do something when they are having the graphical interface. They will click here and there and it can do something. But in the command line interface, where if the user don't know any commands, they can't do anything. They cannot change anything, they cannot do anything. So we can say that it is more secure than the desktop experience. And basically what in the Core Edition, in the Core Server installation, we actually don't have Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer we don't have, and that means you cannot browse internet, and when you can't browse internet, that means you can't download viruses there. So it is more secure than the desktop experience. Then this Core is an installation that cannot be converted to a full graphical shell version of Windows Server 2016. Now in this Windows Server 2016, once you installed it as a core, then you cannot convert it back to graphical version. In previous version, in the Windows Server 2012, actually when we install the Core Server, we can convert it into graphical anytime, and graphical also we can convert it into anytime into core. That was available in previous version like Windows Server 2012, but now in Windows Server 2016 we don't have that option. If you install graphical, then only graphical will be available. If you install core, then you cannot convert it back to graphical. The default installation option for Windows Server 2016, and that is the default option. That means when we start the installation, So when we when the version when the addition window comes, selecting the addition window comes, so it is selected the core by default. Managed locally by using the Windows PowerShell and other standard tools. So we can manage the core server locally. We can manage it locally. We can get the PowerShell also, and we can get the normal CMD commands. So we can manage the core server locally. It is manageable. And also with remote management enabled, we rarely need to sign in locally. So because it is not having a graphical, so what we can do, we can even manage it locally, but we don't have to manage it locally every time. We just have to do what? We just have to install the core server. We just have to configure the IP addresses and all, and we just have to enable the remote management. And then what? We don't have to log into core server anymore, because we can go to the graphical server where we have the server manager, and in that server manager we will connect the core server, and then we can manage everything from that server manager. We don't have to check and we don't have to log into this core version again. And if you want to manage it through the command line, then you have the option to manage it from PowerShell or normal CMD commands. So it is better idea to use the core server. Like suppose if we want to use 5 servers, so I will use 4 server as a core, because they will not use any resources, any process intensive, so it will work very fast. And then I will install one graphical interface in the one server, and I will connect all the other servers on this graphical server, and I can manage it. I can manage all those 5 servers from the single server manager. So it is a good idea to have core server, because it will not use any graphical, because it is very simple. If suppose you want to make a DNS server, so you want to use all the resources of the server, all the processing power, all the hard disk, all the network power, everything you just want to use for that particular service. That is DNS. You just don't want to use those processing power for managing or processing the graphical things. So it is good idea to have the command line interface. Now this core server looks like a command line, but it is not actually command line, complete command line. It is actually having some graphical interface. It actually looks a graphical. Now see, first I will install it, then we will see that. So just like we create the virtual machine for the desktop experience, we can create the same way, we can create the same machine for the core. So I will go to typical, I will install later, then Microsoft Windows Server 2016. I will name it as a server core, and I can browse and I can put it in somewhere else also. If suppose I don't have space on the drive, C drive, so I can create new folder in new drive. I can change the location also, hard disk space, we can manage the settings after creation also, like how much size RAM you want, how much processors you want, hard disk, and CD-ROM network and other things. Now we want to install it. I want to install it from the ISO image, so I will select this and I will browse this ISO image. Now I can start the installation. When it asks to press the key, so I will press this key, press enter key, and now it is started the installation. Now installation is also easy, we just have to select the core edition. Same what we want to select, the language and the time currency. So we can select I am selecting mine. And then you have to select the keyboard layout, same, then next install. And if it is a genuine, if it is not an evolution version, that means if you have purchased it, then you will it will ask for the key at this step, at this stage. So you will provide the key, and based on the key it will give you the addition automatically. This is the evolution version, so it is having two additions, standard edition and data center edition. And in both the editions we have core option of installation and desktop experience. So previously we selected this data center desktop experience, that is GUI. Now this time I will select data center evolution edition. Now in this we don't have GUI. It says does not include a GUI, but you can fully manage server locally or remotely with PowerShell. So I will select that and go next. Now the rest of the things are same except the license. Just like we install the desktop experience, we don't want to upgrade, we just want to install the fresh one. So I will go for custom, selecting the partitions, and now it will start the installation. So this is the same way which we use to install the Windows desktop experience, the server desktop experience. Now for the installation it will take some time. After the installation we will see how we can configure it, and that we will see next time.